You know, recently I've been thinking a lot about marriage and dating and just love in general, especially because everyone my age are getting married and they are starting that new chapter in their lives. And considering I've never even had a talking stage, or I mean, you know, I'm just very naturally detached and avoidant and just an introverted person, especially because I think along the way we've kind of lost our deception on what love and marriage and, you know, relationships should be. And I don't think anyone realizes anymore that it's not about chasing people or proving your worth or lowering your standards, because if you're a girl you always need to lower your standards in order for you to be able to get a guy. Why do we have to lower our standards or, you know, lower our expectations? No, it's like, what do you bring to the table? What worth do you bring? What do you bring to the table? How about that? What do you do that's so important that I won't be able to do for myself? Literally nothing. Obsessed with getting in relationships, but I don't think anyone realizes the kind of work and what kind of mental state you do need to be in one, and in order for it to actually be, you know, fulfilling for both sides. As a woman, we've been conditioned to center everything around men, and that includes our worth, validation, and our happiness and our sense of attractiveness is all centered around that. And why are we giving them so much power for, when they don't, you know, they don't really, it's not that they don't deserve it, but I mean, why? I think that we need to decenter ourselves from men, and that entire movement isn't just like, oh, a trend or anything. It's an actual lifestyle, it's an actual mindset, especially with like how, you know, we think. And if we decenter ourselves from them, that way at least we can actually start thinking clearly. As we start focusing on ourselves and our dean and our growth and our peace, we will become so much better as human beings, especially because men aren't these magical beings that it's been made out that they are. They're really not. And I promise you, I don't want anyone to think, oh, I hate men, because I don't hate men. I don't hate anyone. There is no human being on earth I hate. I love men, I love women, I love animals, I love all species. However, I don't like men. I don't like the way they think, I don't like the way they act, I don't like the way that they come across. And that's not something that I feel like I need to change, if I'm being completely honest. They are just human. They have flaws just like us. They make mistakes and they're not always ready to love the way that they imagine that they will, you know? I'm not an object to be won. I'm not a prize. I'm another human being that deserves respect, just like men do. This isn't coming from a place of hatred or anything along the lines of that. I think that potentially it could come from that sense of vulnerability and also just being scared naturally, and just that entire topic scaring the hell out of me. Maybe. A woman gives up basically her entire life once she reaches a certain age, because it's your body that you're giving up once you have kids. It's your life, because you're going to look after those kids as well as look after him. Is you know, is actually a very intense thing that people need to start taking a lot more seriously. Love isn't supposed to be a struggle. It's not supposed to be me basically fighting for my life. It's supposed to be peaceful. I'm more avoidant and introverted. The thought of being vulnerable with someone actually scares the living hell out of me. Like, it's terrifying. Someone see those parts of me that I've hidden for so long is not easy, and maybe it does come from a place of that, but I don't think it does. It comes from me being shy. I really don't. And sometimes being Muslim in this generation honestly is so confusing, especially when it comes to dating, because growing up we've learned that there are certain boundaries that are, you know, should not be crossed, and then you grow up and they are all being crossed, meaning that haram relationships have become so normalized, and just talking stages for just the wrong reasons have become so normalized. And it's like the most, you know, you go outside and you see that and it's like, what? No, I'm not giving some guy the opportunity to get to know me, especially when I know that his intentions aren't right, you know? Why would I do that? And that just doesn't make sense to me. Love is something pure and sometimes needs to be protected and not experimented with, but everywhere you look it's become more normal and more natural just to cross those lines. People jump from relationship to another, treating hearts like they're just temporary homes, and then calling it love. And I don't think there's anything wrong with going in your 20s and even 30s and just never really experiencing what love is or how it's been perceived in media and movies and you know, this generation, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Choose to wait and you choose to guard your heart and stay away from things that harm. It's being made to feel like there's something wrong with you. Now, missing out on what I don't understand it. I don't understand men do that make it so desirable to be, you know, in a relationship or anything along the lines of that. There's nothing I can't do, and maybe that's just because I'm mentally insane and I think there's nothing on this earth that I can't accomplish, but there's nothing that they can do that I can't do. Working in accountancy, all I see is men chasing after what they want. Literally, I've worked with clients and I've co-workers and stuff. I think twice to make a decision, regardless if it affects someone negatively. As long as it affects them positively, they're gonna do it. And when they do it, they're seen as, you know, paper soldiers, they're seen as hustlers, they're seen as like these amazing businessmen. But if I were to do the same, I would just be seen as like a stupid little girl that doesn't know what she's doing. And so I think maybe, you know, my career path has kind of had an impact on that, or maybe just the way I've grown up. And like, oh girl, who hurt you? No one hurt me. I swear to you, no one hurt me in that sense. Yeah, fine, growing up, because I wasn't the most attractive human being on the earth, and you know, I didn't have many friends or anything along the lines of that. I don't think that has anything to do with how I view love. I genuinely don't. Being with someone that you know is wrong for you be right, but actually just waiting until you find the right person be wrong. Make that make sense. How? Potentially love and marriage in general could be a little bit different to how other people view it, only because of my cultural background as well as like my religious background. However, love, no matter your sexual orientation, your race, your ethnicity, your age, your gender, like, it doesn't matter. Everyone wants to be loved the same. Everyone wants to be respected and cared for the same. So I don't think it should, you know, my views on it should vary too much. However, I do think that, especially if you've seen relationships not do well growing up, that has got an impact on how you see it. And I'm not saying that the reason why I'm like I'm not getting married is because of how I've seen like marriages in my family, or, you know, my friends be in relationships and it not just work out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think it could potentially have, you know, potentially cloud my judgment a little bit maybe. But I'm still a human being and I still have a brain, and I know what I like and what I don't like. And what I don't like is how much we view women in society that aren't married by a certain age, or how, you know, if you are in your 20s or your 30s and you're not married or been in a relationship, it's suddenly like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, oh, don't worry. Or you'll get, oh, don't worry, you'll find the one soon. Oh, don't worry, your time will come. I don't want my time to come. I don't want it. I don't want it. And why is that so hard to believe? Why is it so difficult to believe that I'm more than capable to do everything that I am intended to do on earth by myself? Because even sometimes my mum and my dad do that, where they're like, oh, listen, like, why don't you start thinking about like actually finding someone and stuff? And it's like, I'm already trying to find someone. I'm trying to find myself. Are you joking? There are days that I don't even want to get out of bed and you're telling me that, oh, I should start looking for a person. No, let me, you know, figure out what type of person I am first, and, you know, sort this out first before I focus all of my time and all of my energy on another human being. Because that's what initially does happen in marriages, if you actually think about it properly. Like, people tend to act like if you're single you're unlovable or that you're broken, and it's like, no, that's not the case at all. What it means is that you're just taking your time and you're just trying to figure out what you actually do like. Honestly, all it means is that you're just waiting for something meaningful and not just convenient. But people just tend to get married for convenience. So wrong, because once you reach a certain age, people just tend to settle because they're like, oh my god, I'm this age, I must get married now, or I must do this, or oh my god, like, I'm running out of time. Running out of time? What do you mean you're running out of time? Stop. Don't listen. I'm not the wild how quickly society will label you if you're not following their timelines. And honestly, I really don't crave intimacy or being in a relationship the way that people expect me to, and then people instantly start to think that there's something wrong with me and start like questioning my sexuality, and I'm just like, no girl, can we not do that? Can we not be like, oh well, you don't want a husband, you don't want a boyfriend, or maybe you're asexual. maybe you're just dumb. And it's actually wild how society tends to put this label on you once you don't reach or follow their timelines. Like, there's a timeline on when you're supposed to get your dream job, and there's a timeline when you're supposed to get married and have your first child, and it's like, no, I don't care about what has been done in previous generations or what your grandparents did or how young your mum got married. I genuinely, that has nothing to do with me, and it doesn't concern me at all. So I've never had a crush. Maybe in primary school, but listen, if you saw me in primary school, your girl's wilding out. There was something actually wrong with me, because I was the type of person that ate paper on her break. So, you know, are we really gonna trust me and having a crush whenever there would be like an awkward silence, I would shove paper in my mouth? No, I'm really just content with being by myself. I really am. And somehow people make out that that's weird, when what's weird about that? What's weird about actually just liking yourself? Maybe I'm in love with myself. Why is it so hard to believe? Why is it so hard to believe that maybe I just love myself so much that there isn't enough room for me to love someone else? Oh, no, that's bad. Maybe I should say that. So I've realised that society really doesn't know what to do with women in power, or women that are strong or independent and just intelligent. Society really doesn't know what to do with them. You're not chasing men or centering your life around one, people start to get very uncomfortable and act like there's an issue with you, and they just start calling you intimidating, or you're expecting too much, or that you're just cold, when in reality, no, because no one would ever look at a man that is just focused on his work or him making money as he's expecting too much, or he's doing too much, or he's really dependent and that's a bad thing. No, we would look at him and be like, look at him like he's the man. So what's wrong with me wanting to be the woman? The truth is, being independent doesn't mean that you hate being loved or you hate love. It just means that you're not desperate for it, can want that connection and still refuse to settle. And honestly, it's so sad how much a woman's identity is still rolled around a man even to this day. And from a young age, we're taught that being chosen is the ultimate goal. Being loved by a man is somehow validating, and it's like the most validating thing that there is to exist, because we don't just exist to be someone's other half or someone's partner, or there's so much that we have to offer. And it's like society praises women that are beautiful and soft and quiet, but gets uncomfortable when a woman is assertive or confident and just self-assured. And another thing that really bothers me is that how we've romanticized young relationships, and we've made out that is another ultimate goal. Seem like there's just something so magical about getting married at 18, finding the one and doing your nikah at like 20, and it's like, what? Truth is, most of us are just trying to figure out who we are at that age, and growing, changing, unlearning, healing, and somehow we're expected to find the one that we're supposed to be with for the rest of our lives, all at that same age. And I don't think that we talk enough about how love can actually feel so much more different when you actually figure out the type of person that you are, and when you actually start to care and value yourself more than validation from other people. Once you do, and you stop confusing attention with affection, and you stop mistaking potential for peace, completely fine, even if I went the rest of my life and never got into a relationship and never had that partner or whatever. I think I'll be completely fine, because I have so much more to offer than just being someone's wife. I refuse to shrink myself to fit into someone else's comfort, and if being content in my own life makes other people question me, so be it. If you've never been in a relationship either, and you start to think that maybe there is something wrong with me, there is nothing wrong with you. It is literally you're taking your time. That's all it is. And girl, listen, sis, you don't want to get into a relationship, especially when you don't know if you're even ready. I have a lot of people in my life that are having talking stages and talking to guys that they know that they don't want to get married. So it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you putting yourself through that pain when you know that it's going to end wrong? Just for what? Just for the plot? Just for a bit of fun? Just for a bit of shits and giggles? Don't do it. Girl, and I are sisters, okay? Don't do it. Don't put yourself through that, especially when something is built off of the foundation of just it being haram and just being wrong. It's never going to end well. Why are you doing that? Why are you demeaning yourself when you know that you're strong, independent, beautiful? Why are you making it easier for them? Don't make it easy for them. Literally from the beginning of time, it was never meant to be easy for men. It was always supposed to be, life was always supposed to be easy for men. Our prophet, peace be upon him, he looked after his wives. Why are you making it easy for them? Why are women working harder than men are? Chasing a man that doesn't want to be chased? Why? Why are you doing it? Don't do it to yourself. Just literally, please, I'm begging you, don't do it to yourself, because they're like supernatural beings. I bet you he didn't even wash his, if you're choosing the ones that are just wrong. I have this friend who is looking to get married, and guy after guy, every guy she chooses is just a walking red flag. And you don't need to know him, you don't need to talk to him, you just need to look at him and you know what type he is. Really amazing, intelligent woman. However, she keeps on making herself look like a mug just for that validation. You don't need validation. Let me validate you. You are amazing, you are beautiful, you're independent, you're super smart, and you don't need a guy to make you feel that way. I really hate that narrative where it's like, not all men are like that, not all men are horrible, not all men use you and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah girl, I know not all men are like that, not all lions bite, but am I going to put myself in a cage with one? No. In a way, I'm staying away, because a lot of things, but a mug is not one. I'm not one. That not everyone needs or wants constant romantic validation, and I think that we need to stop rushing into relationships just because everyone else is in one. And honestly, men can be scary sometimes. Like, do you remember that meme that was like, oh, would you choose a man or a bear in the woods? First of all, a bear lives in the woods. That is their home. Why is a man in the woods? Why are they there? They shouldn't be there. I was in the woods with a man. I'm running to the bear. I'm actually sprinting to the bear. Do you know why? Because the bear's not going to assault me. The bear's not going to also make me feel insecure, or the bear's just going to maybe eat me or kill me. Men do a lot worse. And listen, I hate a talking stage. The thought of a talking stage actually disgusts me, because it's like, why do I need to text you and call you 24/7 in order for you to know whether you like me or not? I don't need to do that. I have a rule, and when I do find someone potentially like good enough for me to talk to, I'm giving you a certain amount of time to figure out whether you like me or not. I don't need to be talking to you for years. I don't need to be in a relationship with you prior to us getting married. I don't need to do that. You know right from the beginning, right from the get-go, whether you like someone. My dad said that he knew right from the beginning he liked my mom. Right there and then. Didn't need a talking stage, didn't need a whole this and that, didn't need to know her for years prior. He said, I like her, I want her. That sounds weird, but men know what they want. They know what they want right from the beginning, just like women do. So why are we acting like, oh, they're still trying to figure out things, they're still trying to do? They're not trying to figure out anything. What they're trying to figure out is how much they can abuse you and how much they can actually just manipulate you into getting what they want. Good a man acts, or how nice and how, respectful and just how much they love women are. They're all the same. I have male friends, and I do that on purpose, because the truth is, what could I ever relate to or find interesting in having a male friend? None of their hobbies, nothing that they do actually makes me think, oh wow, maybe this person is worth being a friend. However, I have been surrounded by people where you start to think, oh, do you know what, he actually seems cool, and then they say something that just reminds you, he's a man. Oh, he's a man. Like, the saying, oh, I'm just a girl. I hate that. I have the sticker, like right there, I have the sticker, I'm just a girl, just for shits and giggles. I don't believe that. I don't believe I'm just a girl. I don't believe I'm just this. I believe that I'm literally capable of absolutely everything that I put my mind to. But when people say, oh, he's just a man, you just do need to give that to them, because they are just a man. Don't disrespect yourself with being with someone when you know that it's wrong for years, saying, I'm gonna marry you one day, I'm gonna be with you one day, you're gonna be the mother of my kids. He's lying. Do you know why? Do you know why he's lying? Because that's what they do what they want just to get what they want. Sell ice to an Eskimo. They could, if that meant that they were getting what they want. It's so funny when I say stuff like this, because people are like, oh my god, like, who hurt you? No one hurt me. I haven't given anyone the bloody chance to hurt me. But trust me, if I gave a man a chance to hurt me, he's gonna take it. He's gonna take that chance, and he's gonna run down the street to another country if I gave him that chance. So, not in a dramatic way, but it's like the way that some of them treat emotions like weaknesses, or take advantage of women's patience, or expect them to put in more effort. That's scary. So yeah, I'm not in a relationship, and there potentially could be a day where I do get married, and if that day never comes, I'm not going to be hurt. If anything, I'll probably have a lot more money, and if not, I'll adopt a child or I'll adopt a pet, and hopefully by then I've made some substantial friends. So growing, I'm healing, I'm protecting my heart, and remembering that not single is not a curse or a bad thing. No timing can be Allah's timing. So, and honestly, I'd rather be single and safe with Allah than with a person who is emotionally draining and doesn't see me for who I am, you know?